Slovakia is smaller than the U.S. state of West Virginia, yet somehow it ranks among the top 10 countries with the most beautiful women in the world. The United States, with 330 million people, and Hollywood itself, doesn't even make the list. Surprised? You should be, because this tiny country in the heart of Europe has quietly done something few others can. It turned simplicity into elegance. Have you ever met a Slovak woman? If you're still breathing afterward, drop a 1 in the comments. They say beauty can stop time, but here it might just stop your heartbeat. Their beauty isn't about heavy makeup filters or showing off. It's in the calm way they walk, the way their eyes meet yours for just a second longer than you expect, and the way silence somehow feels alive. But in Slovakia, beauty isn't loud. It doesn't chase attention. It walks slowly through misty mornings and cobblestone streets with coffee in one hand and confidence in the other. This is not a country that shouts for your admiration. It simply earns it one quiet gaze at a time. So how did a place smaller than some American counties become one of Europe's most magnetic nations? A land where grace, architecture, and mystery blend into something unforgettable. Today we're entering Slovakia, where beauty walks slowly, and every face tells the story of a mountain. 1. The women of Slovakia. Beauty in stillness. Their beauty isn't something you notice all at once. It unfolds slowly, like snow melting on glass. In Slovakia, women don't chase attention. They drift through life with the quiet confidence of someone who doesn't need to prove anything. You'll see it in the mornings when the first snow falls over Bratislava. A young woman with dark blonde hair walks across the square, the wind catching loose strands as she lifts a steaming cup of coffee. Her eyes, a mix of gray and blue, glance up for a second, then return to her thoughts. No makeup, no filters, no performance. Just the kind of beauty that feels accidental, yet impossible to ignore. It's the bloodlines that make them different. A mosaic of Slavic warmth, Hungarian grace, and Germanic precision. Their faces look like they were painted in watercolor over snow, soft light, and impossibly balanced. They don't spend their days chasing trends or fighting angles for a selfie. In a world addicted to Instagram beauty, they remain beautifully offline. Their glow comes from long walks through narrow streets, laughter echoing in winter air, and the rhythm of a simple, well-lived life. Here, women are admired not because they decorate themselves, but because they know who they are. You'll see them at the local market, bargaining over apples and honey. You'll see them riding the tram, reading poetry, instead of scrolling through their phones. In parks, they sit on wooden benches, wrapped in scarves, sharing silence like a language. They live in tune with the seasons, walking through fog, planting herbs on their balconies, hanging laundry that smells like mountain wind. And when they do decide to indulge, it isn't vanity, it's ritual. In the Trnava region, there are wine spas where women bathe in fermented grapes and mineral waters, believing that nature gives back what it's been given. Their grandmothers used to say, "Wine keeps the skin honest," and somehow it feels true. During spring festivals, they weave flowers into their hair, carry baskets of grapes, and dance barefoot on the grass while violins play old folk songs. It's not a show for tourists, it's a celebration of womanhood, of endurance, of joy that doesn't need to shout. But even in beauty, there's silence, and sometimes silence hides pain. Behind those calm faces and soft gestures lies a quiet strength shaped by history, by wars, survived by winters, endured by expectations, whispered from one generation to the next. In Slovakia, women are taught to smile even when they're tired, to be capable without complaint, to hold the world together without letting anyone see their hands shake. It's elegance, yes, but it's also weight. The kind of strength you don't post about, the kind you carry quietly, day after day. 2. Behind the smile. In Slovakia, beauty and strength walk hand in hand, but not always in harmony. Society expects women to be everything at once: strong, independent, soft, and kind. The perfect winter rose blooming in frost, never complaining about the cold. You'll see it in their posture, in the way they hold their coffee, in how they always seem composed, even when exhaustion hides behind their calm eyes. Here, resilience is admired, but too often it's mistaken for peace. Beneath the quiet grace lies a deeper story. Nearly 1 in 4 Slovaks show symptoms of depression, and among women aged 18 to 35, the number rises closer to 30%. It's not because they lack dreams or courage, it's because the world around them tells them to hold it all together, no matter the cost. To smile through the weight of expectation, to succeed without showing the struggle to care for others before themselves. You can feel it in the air of university classrooms, where students stare into laptops with tired eyes, or along the Danube, where couples sit together at dusk holding hands, but saying nothing at all. The silence between them is not empty, it's heavy like a language made of unspoken thoughts. But something is changing. Across Bratislava and Košice, a quiet movement is growing: small groups called silent circles. They meet in libraries, cafes, even parks, sitting together, not to fix each other, but to listen. No judgment, no pressure, just honesty. Young people, men and women alike, come to speak about loneliness, burnout, and fear, learning that sharing is not weakness. It's courage. A girl once said during one of these gatherings, "For years, I thought being strong meant hiding my sadness. Now I know strength is when you can say, 'I'm not okay,' and still keep going." In these rooms filled with soft voices and tearful smiles, Slovakia is discovering something new: that silence may be beautiful, but connection is healing. They're learning that true strength isn't in silence, it's in sharing. And maybe for the first time, the echo of those quiet hearts is beginning to sound a little like hope. The land that molds the soul. If people are shaped by their land, then Slovakia must be a country carved by wonder. After all the quiet strength of its women and the stillness of its cities, the soul of this place reveals itself in the wild, untamed, poetic, and deeply sacred. The high Tatras rise like guardians of the sky, their snowy peaks slicing through the clouds, their reflections trembling in glassy alpine lakes. Peaks that pierce clouds, lakes that mirror heaven, and forests that whisper legends of bears and monks. The wind here doesn't blow, it breathes. It moves through pine valleys, carrying the scent of cold water and moss, the sound of church bells echoing from miles away. Local legends say that the mountains are alive, not in the way tourists imagine, but in spirit. At Strbska Pleso Lake, people whisper that the soul of the mountains sleeps beneath the surface, waking only when the fog touches the water at dawn. Fishermen refuse to cast their lines too deep. Hikers lower their voices as they pass. It's not superstitio, it's respect. Because here, nature isn't a backdrop. It's a presence, a teacher, a mirror. When you stand by that lake in the morning mist, you don't just see beauty, you feel seen by it. Beneath the green carpet of forests lies another world, a secret kingdom of over 6,200 caves, sculpted by time and silence. Among them, one stands apart. Ochtinska Aragonite Cave, the only Aragonite cave in Europe open to the public. Its walls sparkle like constellations, trapped underground, a galaxy beneath the earth, where crystals curl and twist into delicate spirals of white and silver. Walking through it feels less like entering a cave and more like drifting inside a dream, surrounded by stars that forgot how to shine above ground. Further south, nature softens into the fairy-tale wilderness of Slovak Paradise National Park. Here, wooden ladders cling to canyon walls, and narrow bridges dangle above roaring waterfalls. You don't hike here, you walk above waterfalls, gripping cold metal rails while mist kisses your face. Every step feels like a test between fear and fascination. The sound of rushing water blends with the flutter of bird wings, and somewhere between danger and peace, you understand why they call this place Raj Paradise. Slovakia may be small, but it holds more beauty per kilometer than most countries can dream of. Nearly 40% of its land is forest, one of the highest ratios in Europe, and in 2024, it welcomed 2.5 million international travelers who came not for luxury, but for silence, purity, and truth. Because in these mountains, the world slows down, time bends, and somewhere between the echo of waterfalls and the whisper of wind through fir trees, you begin to realize Slovakia doesn't just show you its landscape, it reshapes your soul to match its rhythm. Bratislava city between borders. They call it a capital that can see 3 countries without moving. From one hill in Bratislava, you can look across the Danube and glimpse Austria and Hungary in the same breath. Few cities in the world hold such a view, where history, geography, and identity fold together like pages of the same story. Bratislava isn't loud, and it doesn't try to compete with its neighbors. While Vienna sparkles with grandeur and Budapest dazzles with lights, Bratislava feels intimate, like Europe whispered, not shouted. The city wakes up slowly. The air smells of roasted coffee and river mist. Along the Danube Promenade office, workers, artists, and students all share the same view. Sunlight rippling on the water, the hum of a tram echoing through the morning fog. Old trams painted in cream and red rattle past pastel buildings from another century. In small cafes, the chatter of Erasmus students mixes with the sound of espresso machines and soft jazz. Laptops glow under hanging lamps, while outside bicycles glide past like ghosts of a gentler time. Bratislava is a city of contrasts that coexist beautifully. Its architecture shifts from Baroque palaces with sculpted angels on their facades to modernist blocks born from the socialist era, both standing side by side, neither apologizing for the other. It's a visual dialogue between old and new, east and west, past and possibility. Walk through the old town and you'll find cobblestone alleys where street musicians play violins as the sun sets behind the castle. The notes drift upward, mingling with the evening breeze, and for a moment you understand what peace sounds like. And then there's the UFO bridge, a silver arc crossing the Danube, crowned with a saucer-shaped observation deck that looks like it landed straight from another world. Locals call it most SNP, but to travelers, it's a symbol of Slovakia's future, sleek, confident, looking forward. From its top, you can see all of Bratislava spread beneath you. Terracotta roofs, glowing in the dusk, the river cutting through the heart of the city, and far in the distance, the faint outlines of Vienna's skyline. As night falls, Bratislava changes tempo. The narrow lanes fill with candlelight and conversation. Couples stroll hand in hand by the river, their reflections swaying with the current. Streetlights shimmer on wet stones after the rain, and from open windows drift the scent of baked bread and wine. It's not a city that tries to impress you. It simply lets you belong, as if you've always been here watching the Danube flow, feeling the gentle heartbeat of a capital that lives between worlds. Cost of living and daily life. Life in Slovakia doesn't sparkle with extravagance. It flows with quiet balance. In Bratislava, the average monthly income sits around $1,900 in 2024, enough for a comfortable, grounded lifestyle if you live with intention. A one-bedroom apartment in the city center costs $800 to $100, while outside the bustle cozy flats surrounded by gardens go for $500 to $700. Meals are simple and hearty. A local lunch of soup, bread, and meat stew costs around $7 to $10, while a tram ticket is $1.20 and high-speed internet just $20 a month. For most Slovaks, it's not about living large, it's about living well. You'll notice it in their weekends. While many parts of the world spend Sundays in shopping malls, Slovaks spend them in nature. The Sunday hike is almost sacred. Entire families pack sandwiches and climb forest trails, grandparents leading the way, children running ahead. No rush, no noise, no competition. Just the sound of boots crunching leaves, the smell of pine and laughter echoing between the trees. By the time they return home, cheeks flushed and phones forgotten, they've found something money can't buy: peace. In a country where people have endured history's ups and downs, financial caution is almost cultural. Nearly 70% of Slovaks own their homes outright, paid with years of savings rather than bank loans. Debt is something they avoid, not embrace. There's pride in simplicity, in fixing what's broken, reusing what still works, and saving for what truly matters. Markets across the country now follow a no-waste model. Customers bring their own jars, bags, and containers. Vendors smile as they weigh grains, pour honey, or refill detergents. It's not just eco-consciousness, it's a way of living lightly, respectfully. And perhaps that's what defines Slovakia best, a culture that values quiet dignity over excess. Here, the rhythm of daily life is modest, predictable, and deeply human. There's comfort in the routine coffee before sunrise greetings, exchanged with neighbors, the evening tram clattering past apartment blocks as the city exhales into night. In a world chasing constant upgrades, Slovakia remains content, not with more, but with enough. 6. Culture, folk, and faith. If Slovakia's nature shapes its body, then its culture shapes its soul. Across the valleys and mountain towns, tradition is not a museum piece, it's a heartbeat that still keeps time. Every summer, the quiet village of Detva bursts into color and sound for its folk festival, often called the Slovak version of the Guka Trumpet Festival. Here, the air trembles with violins and bagpipes, and dancers in bright skirts spin like whirlpools of color under the open sky. Men in embroidered vests raise cups of mead honey wine, while women laugh, their voices blending with the rhythm of ancient songs. It's not performance, it's memory made alive. Generations meet in that music, grandmothers clap their hands, young lovers dance barefoot on the grass, and for a few days the whole country remembers who it is. Hospitality in Slovakia is sacred. When you visit someone's home, the first thing you'll be offered is bread and salt, a centuries-old symbol of welcome and respect. Bread for life, salt for truth. To refuse either would be unthinkable. It's more than a gesture. It's an unspoken promise that you'll be treated like family. And it's these small rituals that keep the Slovak heart warm in the cold of winter. Far north, tucked between rolling hills, lies the fairytale village of Sikmani, where every wooden house is hand-painted with white geometric patterns. Circles, crosses, hearts, and lines, all symbols of protection and harmony, drawn by women who believed beauty could guard the home. When snow falls, the village looks unreal, like a page from a storybook dusted in light. Photographers call it the village that breathes art, but locals just call it home. In daily life, Slovaks carry that same quiet grace. They are reserved but genuine people who don't waste words but mean every one of them. They're punctual, disciplined, and allergic to showing off. But once you cross the invisible line of formality, everything changes. You'll be invited into their kitchen for a plate of brinzové haluski, the national dish of potato dumplings with sheep cheese, and offered a shot of Tatra tea, 72% strong, poured, not to test you, but to say, you belong. Conversations last for hours, laughter fills the gaps, and time seems to soften around the table. Here, to be accepted isn't about status, money, or nationality. It's about sincerity. Show respect, listen more than you speak, and Slovakia will open its heart to you. Because beneath its stone churches and centuries of folklore lies a simple truth. This country doesn't ask you to impress it, only to be real. The quiet strength of a small nation. Slovakia may be small, but its pride speaks through silence. Without power or display, this country has given birth to people who change the world, like Joseph Murgas, the true pioneer of radio, and Andy Warhol, the global icon of pop art. Both came from the same roots, a land that values ideas more than noise. The Slovak people live by a simple philosophy: less noise, more meaning. You feel it on cobblestone streets, inside Gothic cathedrals, reaching toward heaven, or along the quiet Danube flowing through the city. In the park, old men play chess beneath the trees, and time itself seems to slow softer, kinder. Unlike the West, where people race against time, Slovakia chooses to walk beside it. No rush, no show, only presence, depth, and truth. And perhaps within that stillness, you finally understand the real strength of this small nation. It doesn't need to shout to be heard, because its soul already speaks through peace. Slovakia isn't a place that tries to impress you. It's a place that quietly changes you, not with grand monuments or luxury, but with the stillness of its mornings, the honesty in its people, and the way beauty here never demands attention. It simply exists. You come for the mountains, for the castles, for the old streets, but you stay for something you can't quite name. A feeling, a calm, a reminder that peace doesn't need to be loud to be real. Here, the true kind of beauty isn't about perfection, it's about discipline, sincerity, and silence. The kind that teaches you to slow down to listen and to see meaning in small things, a shared meal, a nod from a stranger, the sound of footsteps on wet stone after rain. In a world that celebrates noise and speed, Slovakia whispers something different, that life at its most beautiful happens quietly. Would you live in a place where beauty walks slowly? Comment your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories from the quiet corners of our world.